This has never been done before in Canada. Our country was in need of its own sovereign AI infrastructure. So TELUS built it. This is Canada's first fully sovereign AI factory. A powerful, super secure facility that gives Canadian businesses and researchers the computing power they need to create, train, and deploy their own AI models. Authentic sovereignty means controlling every layer, from the physical chips to the data processing. Everything is operated and controlled by Canadians under Canadian law. This direct ownership is critical, as it mitigates vulnerabilities that exist when you rely on external parties.
Notre centre de données ici à Rimouski, c'est un bâtiment qui est sécuritaire, qui est innovateur, qui est efficace énergiquement. We run the entire network on TELUS Pure Fiber and with 99% renewable energy and 75% less water usage.
What drives the factory are NVIDIA's most advanced GPUs. They provide the massive computing power needed to build AI from the ground up.
Ces plateformes qui existent, qui ne sont pas canadiennes, nous rendent vraiment vulnérables, nous rendent dépendants au point de vue économique, au point de vue politique également. Alors, pouvoir le développer ici au Canada, pouvoir compter sur une entreprise canadienne pour développer ce type de technologie pour l'économie canadienne, pour l'ensemble du pays, ben, ça va diminuer effectivement notre dépendance. Alors, c'est extrêmement important de pouvoir compter sur de l'intelligence artificielle souveraine au Canada.
The future of AI is Canadian, and it starts here.
For global and disruptive brands. We're home to approximately 70,000 engaged. Welcome to TELUS Digital. We are a leading digital customer experience innovator that designs, builds, and delivers next-gen digital solutions for global and disruptive brands. We're home to approximately 70,000 engaged team members across the globe, all inspired to design, build, and deliver customer experience solutions for global and disruptive brands. Our unique and caring culture, our tenured and talented team, and our digital transformation experience make us a preferred partner across a diverse range of disruptive and established clients. Our success lies in our people, so we focus on building state-of-the-art, innovative, and inspiring facilities in convenient locations that offer easy access to diverse talent and a connection to the communities where our team members live, work, and serve. Our facilities are strategically located in communities with bright and talented university graduates, easy access to public transportation, schools, parks and shopping malls, among other amenities, and central locations within populous areas to promote name recognition and recruitment success, which helps drive well over 200,000 team member applications annually. Within our state-of-the-art global facilities, including LEED certified buildings around the world, we create beautiful, open spaces and positive work environments that energize our team members. All of our digital centers of excellence are designed to invite our people and our clients to enjoy and appreciate innovating in partnership. Theme relaxed areas, outdoor green spaces and community areas, gaming pods, workout facilities, cafes, and rooftop soccer fields are just a few of the amenities that engage and inspire our extended family of diverse team members. We love to think outside the box by offering colorful landscapes that spark creativity, promote innovation, and greatly contribute to exceptional customer experiences with every interaction. Regardless of location, we hire and support a carefully selected team sourced by our experienced talent acquisition professionals. By collaborating on hiring profiles, digital skill sets, and language needs, and staying true to our commitment to diversity, we follow an innovative recruitment and onboarding process that both welcomes and prepares new team members to support our clients' digital journeys. Caring for the health and well-being of our team members is important. All of our delivery centers offer offline activities like yoga and meditation, recreational fitness and social clubs, and service opportunities like TELUS Days of Giving and eco events that help our team members refuel personally and give back to the communities. This commitment to our caring culture and the people that drive it is rewarded by stellar team member engagement engagement scores, and more loyalty that shines through in longer tenure and
Lordy.
This is what underpins a framework that we refer to as our culture value
Can
chain.
you end
where a
this ad?
strong corporate culture drives employee engagement and retention.
All right.
Tenured,
It's enough of that.
authentic ownership.
Good gosh. Anyway, that just is showing you how important TELUS is. Good. I don't expect to go on. We'll see how it goes, but I don't expect to talk today that long. But we'll see. It's nice weather. It's cold, but I want to get out and walk and not be, as I suggested to you all yesterday. Let's not be obsessed by this every day. Let's not be anxious. Let's see these low prices as an opportunity to buy. I decided, as I said to you, yesterday's it. I washed my hands of fretting and worrying and listening to, but Corey should have done that, and if he couldn't do this, then he can't do that. Depression does not live here, as Churchill said. So I just don't want to. We digested all of that. There's nothing to learn going over everybody's fears. But I'd like to suggest to you that the next 2 weeks, I guess it's 2.5 weeks. I never have it out here when I need it. But I guess it's 2.5 weeks of trading. Monday will be the 15th, and the last chance to buy the stock will be New Year's Eve, the 31st. So there's probably a half day on on Christmas Eve. I don't know what happens on Boxing Day, whether it's a full day or not. There's not going to be anyone there, but there might be a half day on the 26th, and then on New Year's Day it might be a half day. But anyway, this coming week is probably the last fully engaged day of trading for the year, which doesn't mean you won't have an opportunity to buy the stock later in the year. You know the story of Railtown. You've been in it. You've learned it. We know that any over-the-counter stock in the United States under $5, and it doesn't matter what the story is, because the automatic computerized selling occurs regardless of fundamentals. And in the case of Railtown, they had no choice. They had to pre-announce an acquisition, AIP, which I'm about to show you will pay for itself in spades. With an MOU, LOI, acquisition, a few weeks, number, to be negotiated. So the criminal shorting complex, the criminal shorting mining industrial complex just goes to work. They turn on the computers. So we know that there's been, for the last 6-7 months, since that announcement, and maybe before, there's been this pressure of selling every day. Now, no one understands it. You do. You know it better than most bankers or brokers or attorneys, because no one wants to accept how destroyed our markets are. They did this campaign incrementally. They constantly added advantages to their side of the trading, and without the uptick rule, without enforcement, without knowing who the sellers are, with no real check, using fake market makers. You don't need the whole reg show exemption is a falsehood. But anyway, so we know there's been this selling, which could be staggered. It could be back and forth, back and forth. It could be laddered down. It's highly unlikely that it's a dedicated stealing of the entire market cap, because we know, and I've shown you back filings. We know, to the best of our ability to know, that Railtown has never entered into a toxic financing. So this is just this opportunistic, push it in the easiest direction and mine a penny, 2 pennies, 3 pennies, a half a penny, a quarter of a penny every day. And as I showed you yesterday, there are funds out there dedicated to it, like Ionic Ventures, in my judgment, as we watched a couple of years ago, where you start selling and you buy it back in the same day, but the sales you made, they didn't exist. And then after hours, you can do a reckoning, and according to the regulators, who are all probably young and want a job at the law firms, it was neutral on the day or slightly off. So anyway, without going further on it, it's such a complex and pervasive operation to steal from every company on the over-the-counter and it's successful, that it's really unlikely that Railtown sidestepped some of that selling over this period of time since February 11th, when the insiders or people, major investors who may have had information disclosed to them in the negotiations and in the call for voting and in just discussions, they can't buy. So it's good for the bad guys, but it's going to come to an end. But what's the other thing we know? So we know the price has been suppressed. Secondly, we know that these buyers haven't been able to buy, and it's been about 6, 7, 8 months. And we've gone through the pain of it. Let's leave that behind. What's the opportunity? The opportunity is the AIP deal, which was a critical blockage and first step in releasing the news that will lift the full disclosure requirement, or lift the I don't know what to call it, the blockade of buying by giving full disclosure. We know AIP closed, and it closed under budget, and it has started the clock, however slowly, but inevitably, that whatever news is necessary to lift the veil of full disclosure is on its way. It will come. It will arrive. My guess is the biggest piece of it is TELUS having to more completely describe the relationship with Railtown. But we do know some things about that relationship. We know some things. So those buyers in Canada, if they care, they know some things, but they can't buy. They are not allowed to buy. And research, I don't know the limits on research in the sense that is a researcher allowed to publish a report if they know material non-disclosed information as long as they don't disclose that information? I don't know. But research is going to come. It's almost certainly going to come very quickly. The annual meeting is next week. I think it's going to be a simple tallying of votes and just meeting at a time clock with a witness and then, get that break for lunch. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. However, there's an incentive maybe to get some news out prior to that. I don't know. We know TELUS is slow. We know the regulators in Canada are slow, but regulators here are often slow. We know it's a different culture in other ways too up there, so things are slow. But how can we take advantage of it? We can buy. We have information. We have information. And other participants in the market do not have that information, maybe because they're not looking. They have access to it, I suppose, if they wanted to do the effort, but it's rare people do that anymore. Canaccord, I'm sure the deal is still on the restricted list. I don't know it, but I have a strong feeling of that. But eventually, these brokerage firms are going to have research and have buying. Now, I've told you that I think it's next year. I think it's for ease of our blood pressure. It's probably the middle of January before everybody both gets back from holiday and has organized their desk to get back to work. So that's great. I know it's frustrating, if we're in the mood of day trading and fear and we believe the stock price tells us anything, which I'm strongly suggesting to you that the price of the stock actually tells you very little. I mean, it could be telling you there's tax loss selling. It could be telling you somebody had a margin call somewhere else in their account. It could be that somebody's just dumping the stock. But I think the major thing is it's this ongoing, crushing, oppressive scheme to steal from you. Well, in that context, the price isn't telling you anything about fundamentals. It's telling you about maybe a little bit about emotions, a little bit about confidence, and it shows you again the strength of the strategy to steal. But it's going to end. It's going to end. Why? Revenue. And I just showed you TELUS. My suggestion to you is that we focus only on TELUS and the shared revenue. Only. There's other revenues. It gets too, no one cares when the announcements come out, and it gets so involved, I'm sure people's eyes glaze over. So let's just focus on TELUS. There was corporate presentation, November of 2025, Railtown AI Technologies. I printed it in black and white. It actually comes in color. And it's building a Canadian AI development ecosystem. This is Canada over here. And you've seen this before. You're going to have, and this is one source of the shared revenue. And it's probably the smallest. But you've got the AI affiliates, 180 of them plus, using the Conductor software platform to have their services hosted at TELUS on the Sovereign AI Factory. And then TELUS and Railtown are going to share the computer revenue, shared compute revenue. That's all you need to focus on. You don't have to make it any more complicated. I've made it complicated. Just narrow it down to the compute. The presentation also includes an entry here that for the AIP network, for companies that Railtown has acquired and consolidated, or companies in the network that they have yet to do so, the revenue that other hyperscalers currently earn is $120 million from roughly half of the companies. That's going to move to TELUS. We have to find out the wheretofores, the when, and whether or not it's going to be all. But that represents, according to Dr. Tom Core's interview with Rebecca Kurzweil, and she did an excellent job, that's 125 of those 180, 200 companies. So it's not all that's going to be moved. And then the presentation included the Railtown revenue model. And I think I'll just read that to you again. Railtown AI Technologies is monetizing its newly announced partnership with TELUS. Through the deployment of our agentic frameworks within TELUS's Sovereign AI Data Factory, which I just showed you the video. The first video was probably more helpful than the second. So TELUS is going to provide the hosting and compute infrastructure. TELUS provides the hosting and compute infrastructure for large language models. Railtown contributes its proprietary agentic frameworks. That's the deal. TELUS contributes computer power and large language models. Railtown contributes proprietary agentic frameworks. These frameworks are the tools that enable the creation, the orchestration, and management of autonomous AI agents. TELUS, as a hyperscaler, and as all hyperscalers, require, and remember, this has never been done before. This is a new technology. This is a new future, and quite gigantic, trillions of dollars. So it's not like there's alternatives to TELUS right now. But hyperscalers like TELUS require frameworks or developer toolkits, ADKs, to make the large language models that they host usable. Without these frameworks, in other words, read it without Railtown, it will be extremely challenging for customers to build, deploy, and interact with AI agents effectively. By combining TELUS's secure, domestic, that's Canada, AI compute environment with Railtown's frameworks, with Railtown's software, customers will efficiently build and deploy AI agents while being safe and secure within Canada's borders. And then the revenue model is based on usage and deployments. For every agent built, every agent, so you've got the computer power, you've got the large language model that processes, that does all the understanding and interacting and all the complex stuff. And then these companies, like in the network, they build these agents, or others build agents. Developers come in and build this new thing called an AI agent. Every one of those AI agents built, whether it's by a one-person development team, a 20-person development team, a small enterprise, a medium enterprise, for that matter, a big enterprise, but that might be more complex. So for every agent built and then deployed or hosted, deployed on TELUS's data center, Railtown receives a net percentage of the compute revenues generated by TELUS. The more AI agents businesses build and then run on TELUS using Railtown's frameworks on TELUS's infrastructure, the more revenue Railtown captures. It's scalable and it's mutually beneficial. I don't know how to make my hands stop moving. Okay, I want to show you a couple of things. I believe, and we need to get research, we need to get the news from TELUS to more fully understand this. But TELUS announced this, well, Railtown announced this partnership, but of course, it must have been approved by TELUS or vice versa, because both names were in the announcement. About 6 weeks ago, and there wasn't enough description. But as I read this, TELUS has chosen Railtown's software as the critical component or interface to be used by all users who build these agentic agents and host them on TELUS's platform or its data center. That's huge. It's just huge. Now, we don't have perfect information. If we wait for perfect information, I think the stock will be $3, $4, $5. But I think there's enough in that paragraph, enough in what I'm about to show you, and enough in the press release that I forgot to make another copy of it, but I've shown you it many times, where TELUS announced this. What Railtown technically was the one that released it, announced the TELUS Railtown tie-up. I believe you can act pretty confidently on a belief which has yet to be fully described, but I think you can invest, particularly since the stock is so cheap, and have an upside idea that TELUS has built a data center called the Sovereign AI Factory for Canada. It's using state-of-the-art NVIDIA processors. It's ready to go. It's green, hydropower, cold water. It's good for polar bears and baby seals. And I think you can assume, and it's certainly my assumption, that Railtown's it. Railtown is the interface they have chosen. Now, I believe Railtown, based on Corey's presentations, based on research from a year and a half ago, and by the website, I believe Railtown, and 2 or 3 articles, I believe Railtown's product is first in class and is first to market. And further, I think it may very well be the only thing addressing these capabilities. Now, that doesn't mean other companies putting money at something might not be able to catch up. But I'm going to suggest to you all of that risk that you're worried about of, others have caught up while the delays went on. I don't think it's going to matter. It's a huge market. But the proof of concept stage, Railtown's gone through the R&D stage. I've shown you that graph over and over and over again. Of valuation creation, it's an S curve. You've got the R&D phase, the idea, angel rounds, seed, pre-seed funding, and then you go to commercialize it. And as the concept is proved up and generates revenue, Wall Street extrapolates, and all of a sudden, your value of your company leaps in a logarithmic way. It leaps. And then the buyout will come that's more in oil and gas at an arithmetic ratio. I have a feeling in AI, this buyout also will be on a logarithmic prediction. But this started about 6 years ago. We can buy the stock right here still, somewhat higher than the early stages, but in many cases lower than others have gotten into for the reasons we discussed. But as awareness gets out there and as the proof of concept happens, this value creation is going to explode upward. And instead of the proof of concept being over many different, customers and human beings and potluck, that you go to a conference and you get, and I understand a lot of companies are interested. Not only is it hard to explain, nothing happened, for example, when they announced their agreement with Uniserv with 3,000 end users. I just think it gets too complicated. So if you just focus, if we just focus on TELUS, one source of revenue, they're going to worry about all the hookups and the talking to customers. If we just focus on that one, and that's the proof of concept, this is going to start happening, I think, as soon as February, maybe the middle of January. Now, it might be in this little bit first, but as this runs, stock's going to disappear. You're not going to be able to buy it. Now's the time to get in. What's going to change it? You have information. I've been showing you right now. I'm about to finish. But you have information you can act on because you're not an insider. The insiders and the whales, they can't act. You can. You can take advantage of these low prices. And you have basically 2 weeks left of the year to do so. And it's a great opportunity. Like I say, we're flushing all that negativity, all that anxiety, all that staring at our navel, all of that giving credit that somehow the shorts know something we don't know. That's all yesterday. We have 2 weeks to act so that we have one of the greatest investment experiences we've ever had in the first quarter of next year. It obviously can take to the second or third, but you're not going to want to wait to buy in the first quarter. Maybe that first week of January, maybe it goes to the second week of January. Maybe it goes all the way to February. Don't stress yourself. But this lull, this limbo is about to end. And when it ends, it's over. And the buyers come in. Well, we heard that before from you. Yeah. I admit that my sense of urgency for the last 6 or 7 months, with hindsight, has been wrong. But let's not rehash all the reasons. We are here now. And fundamentally, if we just focus on hosting revenue, I just showed it to you. I can't find it again. The shared revenue. As Wall Street understands that, you know something Wall Street doesn't know, and Bay Street doesn't know. And those who do know can't act on it. Now, I've heard the argument, well, if it's so great, they'd be front running. Well, I don't think that takes into account how small Canada is and their markets are compared to the United States. I also don't think it takes into account that, oddly, up in Canada, they take a lot of regulation really seriously. And I also don't think it takes into account that these institutions and these well-heeled investors and perhaps people who are officers or board members or major players in other companies, they can put all of that at risk by trading on inside information. And the facile argument, well, that doesn't really matter, everybody does it. I don't think, I really think that's really weak. Yes, in the United States, the way it used to be, and maybe still, people cheat and front run information. But we have not seen it yet. So we can decide, well, that means the company isn't doing well and isn't ready to go. Or it means up in Canada, these people are honoring the law and if they signed anything. And I think it's taken seriously. And I don't think it's that hard to track in Canada, where it might be the volume in the United States might make it a little harder to track. I also think, as I've experienced over the last 6 weeks, but it's starting to open up, I think the news flow, it's a tight hole. It's closely held, but I think it's starting to loosen up now that the AIP deal is done. Anyway, let me go. Well, now I gotta. No, I can. I think I can go. Let me go down your. This always happens. I want to show you some things, but I don't want to lose the comments. So let's go down. Hi, Michael Lonsky. You are first in everyone's heart. Hey, Ken, Nguyen, good morning. Here comes the boo bird, 94 cents to 39.5. I guess you're talking about Canadian stock prices. Look what they did. Look what they've done to my boy. Look what they've done. I want you to use all your powers. Look what they've done to my boy. Look, I want to put all that fear, that anxiety, that we could have bought it cheaper behind us. We have to act for the next 2 weeks. We might get 3 weeks, but you know what? We only might get 2 days. We don't know. It's time to act on the information that we know. What's our information? Railtown is spent 6 years on the majority of their software efforts. They've gone through the R&D phase. They're ready to deploy. They're ready to commercialize. And they're about to commercialize on a, pardon the word, an industrial scale rather than one by one retail scale. They're going to prove their concept on the grandest stage possible in Canada. The one, I'll just show you what I found. The one sovereign AI factory that's ready to go. The one in the middle of Canada's campaign for sovereign AI. Railtown is going to be on that stage proving its concept now. What does now mean? Now, it could be tomorrow, next week, but it probably means January, maybe February, but whatever. Once it starts, we don't come back to this hell. We don't come back to this hell. What's the flip side of that? Buy that as you know it. Buy because you have information and you're allowed to act. It's public. It's in the presentation. It's in the press releases. It's in the Canadian government announcements. It's in your ability to connect 2 and 3 and make it 4 or 5, depending on your brain. D-Mac, how are you? Good morning. Hey, Steve. Hey, Fast Eddie. I will contact you for financial advice, hopefully sooner than a year. Well, that's fine. I can't give any advice in this forum because I don't have a fiduciary duty. We don't have a fiduciary relationship. But also, I don't know everybody's situ. But I'm glad to have you contact me, and I'm hopeful. I thought I was going down one path. It looks like I'm not, but I still want to start where we are and where I am to try to build something. And it's just a matter of choosing the method, the entity, and you know, if we stick together with our 16 million shares, I think we'll have deal flow, and I know I can create cash flow and upside. So anyway, maybe that in that context, it might be very interesting. But yeah, I encourage it. You've got my email. D4 is Bell and Rogers one of the affiliated 180? I don't think so. But Bell is certainly one of the potential centers they'll deploy on. But I'm going to show you something I found. I don't know about Rogers Communications. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, though. Alex, out of dividend and picking up some Greek pastries for Christmas. That's fun. You're nothing but the best, better than all the rest. Just checking in and wanted to say hello. Alex. TELUS currently operates 5 data centers and has plans underway to launch additional high-capacity AI-focused data centers, often referred to as sovereign AI factories. Exactly. But you know what? This one's ready. They've actually built 2, if you read the announcements, but this one's ready to go. I think the other one is ready too, but maybe it'll lag a little bit, but that's fine. They got plenty of capacity on the first one. Hi, Donna. So let me go to what I wanted to show you. I don't know if I want to show you that, but I guess we will. It's going to say I have too many. You sure have a lot of files. Somebody sent me a chart. I didn't look at it. I guess we can look at it together. It's not the typical chart I do. Yeah, he's showing me what I saw in the chart yesterday. I should have taken a picture of it. But it's turned here. It has turned. Is it going to hold? We'll find out. But obviously before a stock goes up, it has to first turn. And I think it may have right there. My chart was more like this. This is from 2 days ago. And I think it turned then, but yesterday they brought it back down. But then it closed, or 2 days ago, they brought it back down. And then yesterday it closed at, I think, 30 cents, 31 cents. So I think we may have bounced it. It seems like my support may have been accurate. I don't know. All right, I want to show you first things first. I'm going to take Donna's comment down. This, I Googled. You can see the question I asked almost. There is one fully operational sovereign AI data center with several more announced, planned, or under construction as a part of a national push to AI sovereignty. This is Canada. So the current sovereign AI data centers and initiatives include operational, TELUS AI Factory, Rimouski, Quebec. TELUS launched Canada's first fully sovereign AI factory in September 2025. This facility, developed in partnership with NVIDIA and Hewlett-Packard, is designed to allow Canadian enterprises, I think that's HPE, is designed to allow Canadian enterprises, researchers, and governments to develop and train AI models while ensuring data remains in Canada. Then there's announced, planned, under construction. TELUS AI Factory, Kamloops, BC, a second TELUS Sovereign AI factory is planned for Kamloops, BC. I believe from what I've read that that's under construction, but it might even be finished. But anyway, there's plenty of capacity in the first one. Bell AI Fabric, 6 data centers. Bell Canada announced plans to build a supercluster of 6 AI data centers in British Columbia, and starting with one in Kamloops. And they're going to use Grok hardware. Hypertech, now 5C, has committed to build something. MicroLogic and QScale, Project Cirrus, and they're going to partner. They appear to partner. ThinkOn, a Toronto-based company with 11 data centers. It's the only Canadian company that meets federal government security requirements to house federal data, but it's either going to be announced, planned, or under construction. There's only one, so we'll read about it. The federal government has allocated over $2 billion last year to support a national sovereign AI compute strategy, encouraging these private sector investments to build out domestic data center capacity and reduce reliance on foreign controlled systems. So I asked the computer, do they use Railtown, and is Railtown the only thing they're going to use? And the computer AI said, yes, Telus's sovereign AI factory uses. It doesn't say it's going to use, it says it uses, because that's been announced, remember. It uses Railtown AI for agentic software. But they're also partnering with NVIDIA, Accenture, OpenText, and League, aiming to provide Canadian companies with sovereign AI compute, data control, and specialized tools for healthcare finance. And this will ensure innovation stays in the hotbed of creativity and the engine of the Industrial Revolution, Canada. Key partners and collaborations, right at the top, Railtown AI. Railtown AI provides agentic software solutions for code, and it runs on Telus's sovereign infrastructure. Then NVIDIA provides the underlying AI technology, GPUs, the chips. Accenture is developing sector-specific AI for regulated industries. OpenText, using the platform for its Aviator AI platform to serve customers with compliance needs. And then League is for health tech, digital health services. So as I read this is of course just an AI search. Railtown is the solution for this software, this agentic software. That's the interface, which we read in, where did I read it to you? I guess it was in the press release that they need this, or maybe it was in this presentation. Right now, I can't remember where to look it up, but I read it to you over the many days and weeks. So this is a critical piece, Railtown. All right, so down here, why this matters. Data control keeps Canadian data away from Trump. Canadian innovation allows the historically world-renowned Canadian innovative markets to train locally, which will foster growth locally and in Canada. Infrastructure leverages Telus's secure renewable energy powered data centers. In essence, Railtown is one key software partner, but the broader Telus Sovereign AI Factory is a platform for multiple partners to deliver sovereign AI solutions to Canadian organizations, as explained in all these press releases that they screened. So we don't know the financial relationships there, but we do know this is based, the Railtown relationship is based on splitting revenue from compute power. Well, I've read this one to you before. Will Telus's AI factory redefine Canada's digital future? Telus Sovereign AI Factory provides Canadian organizations with a secure infrastructure to develop advanced AI within Canada. Yeah, all right, we already did that. Telus has announced the launch of Canada's first sovereign AI factory in Rimouski, Quebec, a move that could strengthen the country's digital sovereignty. The purpose-built, it's built for this purpose, facility is designed to provide Canadian organizations, including business, research bodies, and government agencies, with a secure infrastructure to develop advanced AI within national borders. Located on the banks of the St. Lawrence River, the site represents a notable development for Canada's digital framework. I played that video for you. TELUS's CEO Darren Entwistle says, quote, "Today marks a defining milestone for Canada's digital future with the launch of our first fully sovereign AI factory in Rimouski." He's talking about Canada's first. And I guess TELUS's first, but both are true. We are maximizing Canadian autonomy over sensitive data. Businesses, researchers, and governments should not have to rely on foreign-controlled systems to advance their AI ambitions. By delivering advanced computer power within data centers built, owned, and operated by Canadians, TELUS is safeguarding our data, protecting our sovereignty, and empowering our economy. TELUS's factory utilizes the latest NVIDIA GPUs and high-performance computing resources from HPE. This combination delivers capabilities for the training, fine-tuning, and inference of AI models. The facility operates on 99% renewable energy and incorporates natural cooling systems that reduce water consumption by 75%, making it 3 times more energy efficient than standard data centers. The infrastructure is supported by the TELUS Pure Fiber network, which enables high-speed connectivity for AI workloads. Evan Solomon, Canada's Federal Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation, says, quote, "Expanding data and compute capacity here at home supports the government's vision for AI-driven productivity and competitiveness." By keeping data and computing within Canada, TELUS is contributing to responsible innovation and strengthening our broader economic objectives, alongside the many other partners building critical data centers across the country. 3 key customers have already started using the Sovereign AI platform. League, we already saw that in the AI answer. A healthcare customer, Experience Company, is using AI solutions that require strict data residency to ensure sensitive patient information remains in Canada. OpenText is operating its Aviator AI platform to satisfy enterprise-level requirements for data security and regulatory compliance. Elsewhere, Accenture is using the facility for clients in regulated industries such as healthcare, public services, critical infrastructure, and finance, where control over data residency is a primary concern. Feedback from these partners indicates practical advantages. League expects to offer personalized digital healthcare services without the risks associated with cross-border data exposure. OpenText provides infrastructure for more than 1,600 Canadian customers designed to meet stringent standards. And Accenture is creating sovereign AI models with strict data governance. National competition and digital innovation. The competitive environment now includes a Buy Canadian, so that works in our advantage. Buy Canadian focus as carriers, TELUS, work to rival the scale and the innovation of large US hyperscalers. That's TELUS. Local control is increasingly viewed as essential in a period of geopolitical uncertainty. Bell, another Canadian operator, is also focusing on sovereignty and AI-driven transformation through its AI fabric strategy. Its facilities in British Columbia are intended to establish a dedicated AI supercluster and partnerships such as its agreement with Cohere to use proprietary large language models. And all of this is building momentum nationwide. The launch of the TELUS Sovereign AI Factory establishes a new standard for telecom innovators, making Canadian infrastructure a leader in data residency, regulatory compliance, and energy efficiency. And there's another useless quote at the bottom of the page. Sovereignty is now positioned as a key commercial and regulatory differentiator in the Canadian market. With demand for AI growing, telecommunications providers are in a position to benefit as both enablers. I want to highlight that wording to you. Telecommunication providers, in other words, TELUS, are in a position to benefit as both enablers and operators of the infrastructure that supports digital autonomy. And there's another useful quote. Now, let me see if I can find one thing that we talked about yesterday. Of course, I have to find it. And I wonder if I can find it quickly. Yeah. I don't know. So I'll just download all four and hopefully I'll get it right on the first guess. I just guessed. No, that's not it. Maybe it's this one. Here it is. This is from the earnings call, the CEO, Darren Entwistle, at TELUS from November this year. Combined across TELUS are AI enabling capabilities. Do you see that word? Are AI enabling capabilities. With demand for AI growing, telecommunication providers are positioned to benefit, that's TELUS, as both enablers of the infrastructure that supports digital autonomy. Oh, gosh. Combined across TELUS Our AI enabling capabilities are approaching 800 million in revenue this year. This is expected to increase to approximately 2 billion within 2 years, by the end of 2 years, by 2028. It's actually, you could argue that's could be predicted more quickly. Anyway, representing an annualized growth rate north of 30%. But notice, our AI enabling capabilities are going to grow from 800 million to 2 billion, So the question you ask, they have 800 million existing. It's going to grow to 2 billion. And there's one hyperscaler, one data center that's this sovereign infrastructure so far. The others are either in the planning stages or being built. No idea how long that all takes. But this is the one ready to go. And they chose Railtown. So I think just to make some assumptions, that we can assume this coming quarter, maybe it's the following quarter, it could even be the following quarter, but as the market turns its lonely eyes to you, Joe DiMaggio, as the focus is on what is the story here, we know that the revenue at TELUS we can probably, with the AI network of companies, we know there's 120 million that's going to move over for roughly half the companies. Again, I'm projecting forward, assuming some growth there. So I think we could guesstimate 250 million forward as shared compute revenue from two sources. The existing network, which I'm sure is growing, the network of companies, but as the companies are installed, that usage goes up. So I think we can guesstimate, again, forward projection, at some point next year, they'll be able to, and it could be later in the year, but they'll be able to forward project 12 months of revenue from the AIP network moving over to be hosted of 250 million annually and growing. And once it's installed, it stays. It doesn't go anywhere. But then we could estimate that we know that Railtown is going to be out getting other business, and we could estimate a number for businesses they bring that host. But why don't we ignore that, because we have no idea. But with TELUS, we have a number I just gave you from the earnings call. 500 million to grow to 2 billion. Should we use the entire 2 billion since there's one AI sovereign data center in Canada? So can we assume that this business is all going to be shifted to it? I think it's a safe bet. So we could probably project 2 billion in shared revenue. Of course, we don't know the percentages projected because of the tie-up with TELUS, because TELUS needs Railtown as the critical, or one of the critical components to pull all this off. And they chose Railtown. So we could use 2 billion. I would suggest we just use 1.25 billion, and we give 0 for the other potential hosting revenue. And I think sometime, and I might be optimistic, maybe they can't do it in the second quarter or third quarter or fourth quarter. But I would suggest to you, this market is so hot. There's so much attention on it. And the fact that the revenue share from TELUS is likely as close to 100% as you can imagine, because TELUS built the place. Railtown's not building it. But if you could project at some time next year that these two sources of hosting revenue shared are 1.5 billion and growing for the forward 12 months at that point. Let's say April 1, they figure this out. It's for the forward 12 months. Or if it's July 1, they figure it out for the forward 12 months. But this market, analysts and buyers are going to discount all of this to the present. Okay, if we assume $1.5 billion, we do not know. And this, I don't know if they'll ever disclose it, but we do not know what is the percentage split. I have no idea. I could be way off, but my experience comes from, I guess, two industries. One is oil and gas, and the other is being on Wall Street. And I know that retail splits with the house, you know, a producer, you split your revenue with the house, and the house gets the majority of it. The typical, if you know, beyond the beginning stages or the low, if you're a low producer, you're in a completely different category. But it's generally, well, it can be 25, 28%, it used to be, but it's all the way up to 50% if you're a big producer. And sometimes there's some products that go beyond that. But the majority of the split is in that 25 to 40% for retail. Institutionally, that's what I would call this. Institutionally, and I was not an institutional broker, but institutionally, from, you know, I had friends that did it. The numbers I remember were as low as 11% payout to the broker. But again, with performance, size of the account, it could go up to 20, 25% to my memory. And then in oil and gas, if you develop the project or you come up with the idea and then you put the land together and then you do the seismic or whatever analysis you do and you drill 1 or 2 wells, typically the landowner, the geologist, the company, and maybe an investor or two keep overrides. and that's described as a burden. The lowest I've ever, well, I'm sure there's lower, but I never experienced it. The lowest I've ever heard of is an eighth, but it's very rare. And as soon as it's an eighth, somebody tacks on something. The highest, it can go all the way up to 30% in a bull market, but the highest can be in the low 20s, 25%. But I think typically, 15%, 3/8, 18.25%, 20, 22.5%. That's usually where it falls. So I don't know what number to use for sure. And I don't think any of us are going to know. But for simplicity, if we use 20% as Railtown split, that's 300 million in projected annual revenues and growing for Railtown at 100% margin almost. I mean, approximately. I don't know. We'll find out. 100% margin approximately. 300 million. They haven't rolled up any companies. They haven't issued any shares. There's 225 million shares outstanding. If that gets projected, not only will this company have over $1 a share in annual revenue, it'll have over $1 a share in cash flow. And if you don't like this 20%, you can cut it down to I'll try to do the arithmetic. Not 3/8, 3/16. 3/16. 1875, that might be the split times. That'd be 281. You could do it at 10%. That's 150 million. You could do it at 15%. And that'd be 225. That'd be exactly $1 a share. At 15% payout to Railtown, that'd be exactly $1 a share coming in, not only as revenue, but also cash flow. I don't know how profits will be papered up, but profits are often reduced for tax reasons and etc. But it's $1 a share cash flow, $1 a share revenue. At 15% of that number, you could argue that I've gone too high. I get it. And you can play with the numbers yourself. I just showed you how you can calculate over $1 a share in revenue for forward 12 months and growing at some point, in next year. If you get $1 a share in projected 12 months, let's say in July, they project that revenue, and it works out to $1 a share, as it very well may do, 10x gives you $10 a share. Multiples right now are 100 to 200. At a 25x multiple, it's $25 a share. At a SoundHound multiple, it's $35 a share. At the low end of recent numbers I've seen, but the high end of the last 5 years of deals, 50x, it's a $50 number. At the Lang Chain valuation, which was 90x, if you use the low end of the estimate, well, let's use 75x. It's $75 a share. Guys and girls, this stock that you own, if you find my dollar ridiculous, I didn't start with $1. I started with projections. Cut it in half. Reduce it by 3/4. Take 10% of it. The stock is bloody cheap. So that's the message I wanted to get across today. You're going to have 2 weeks to buy this stock while nobody else has a chance to, unless Monday they announce whatever is the holdup on full disclosure. Maybe they announce it Monday. I really don't know when. And is it one thing? Maybe it's more than one thing. We don't know. My guess is, even if they do start announcing, we're so close to vacation that investment committees and research, building your file, gathering, educating your sales women and men is going to be January, just because of the holidays. But it's always possible it could start sooner. It's always possible. Research should start flowing. Company presentations should start flowing. As soon as those buyers in Canada are given permission by their attorneys or just by the regulators saying, fine, that's been filed, and I don't know, do you have to wait 3 days, a week, an hour? I don't know the rules or what looks appropriate. But whenever they start buying, it's not going to be this cheap anymore. When you get 1 or 2 buyers that go in for 5 million shares each, maybe for the first few hours, it won't really show up, but all of a sudden the bid will jump and the stock will be firm. And the games might still continue. They'll just do it they're just playing Pong. You remember Pong? It went from one side to the other. Bing, boo, 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 bing. Boo, 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 bing, boo. It's like that. The computers, they just trade in a range. They just Pong all the way. They can do their Ponging at a higher level and still strip money out as long as they're engaged. But the stock's going to start going up. Now, it'll be subject to limitations in buying for the full disclosure, for any delays in the release of that full disclosure, and then the lifting of the veil. And then it'll also be subject to, do these funds have to wait for $1, $2, $3, $5? And also, do they have to build a file? And I think vacation. But that gives you an opportunity put up whatever discount you want on this. But in my opinion, it gives you a chance to buy $1 a share in annual revenue, which is going to be sometime in the future for the forward 12 months. I would guess they can make that guesstimate 6 months from now. Maybe it's a year from now. But remember, in a bull market, in a hot market, they'll discount all of this forward. So if you want to use a lower number, 25 cents a share, 10 cents a share. My number's $1 a share in ARR will be projected, not right away. Let's say a research report comes out in August and projects this for the forward 12 months. Or maybe it's at the end of next year. But at some point, I think the hosting revenue is going to be worth $1 a share. That's a 15% payout, by the way, just from hosting. We'll find out, and I'm willing to be corrected by evidence, but that's what I think you're buying for 28 cents. 28 cents to buy $1 a year in revenue, which is going to be mostly cash flow. And imagine if they decided to pay some of it in dividends. Anyway, that was my weekend message. It's 2:49. I'm going to go take a long walk off a short pier. And hi, Akira Nova. Akira Nova, good for you. Bought another 100. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. All right, I'll put it here. That's great, Akira Nova. Just building on my investments slowly but surely. That's great. That's great. Total. That's a great total. Hopefully you can get it to 2,000 or 2,500 over the next couple of weeks. I mean, you don't have to. Those are round numbers. That's great, though. Good for you, Akira Nova. All right. I think I'm going to leave it there. Let me just check. I know you are all dying to know who. The Marlins are signing Christopher Morel. The Tigers are signing Kenley Jansen. Wow. Yankees are re-signing Ahmed Rosario. And the Mets are signing Jorge Polanco. See, life goes on. Jimbo Whitefire, Jimbo. All right, I'll write that down. That's great. That's a good total. 2,500 is a good total. Good for you, Jimbo. Good for you. That's great. Congratulations. So I'm going to go while the sun is out. I'm going to go take, take these old bones down to the mall and waste time, I guess, but hopefully keep the blood pumping. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to just quickly, I'll put up my, Venmo and my Zelle, if you don't mind. I'll leave them both up just shortly. And I'm sorry to ask, but I wouldn't be asking unless I had to. That's my Venmo. with the best puppy dog in the whole world in the middle of it. And I appreciate everybody that's helped me. Hopefully next year I won't have to ask. But anyway, that's my Venmo. And I did find my Zelle. That's my Zelle. Zelle Hill. That is my Zelle. You can ring my Zelle. Ring my Zelle. Ring it, ring it, ring my Zelle. Ring my Zelle. All right, so that's probably enough of that, but I appreciate it. Jimbo, stay warm and safe. Thank you. Same to everybody. Peace to everybody. Remember to pray for peace, or just think about peace. The world is as close to World War III, probably, or nuclear war as it's ever been. So pray for it. I'm not picking sides or accusing any, trying to stir up point of views. It's just all of us would be better off if we didn't go to war. So anyway, have a good Saturday. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. We'll certainly talk Monday, maybe tomorrow, but we'll talk Monday. So peace and out.